Tell us a little about the case.
Okay, so the case I want to talk to you guys today about is a dog bite case that I had recently. My client was out for his normal evening stroll through the neighborhood, and all of a sudden this dog came up out of nowhere from behind him and lunged at him and bit him on his leg. He was able to kind of gather his bearings and turned around, and the dog was still snarling and barking at him, and then fortunately a couple of bystanders came over and were able to separate him and the dog and apply first response care to him.
What kind of dog was it?
Dog was a shepherd mix. They think it may have been a pit bull shepherd mix of some sort. It was a mutt, and had apparently been a family dog for a while, but yeah, just out of nowhere came up and bit our client, Mr. Sampson.
What is the law in Georgia regarding liability dog bites?
So to establish liability in a dog bite case in Georgia, it can be a little bit tricky. Georgia has what is colloquially known as the first bite rule, meaning that in order to recover for a dog bite case in a civil suit, you have to be able to establish that the owner knew of the dog's vicious propensities before the actual attack, the subject attack for which you're pursuing damages. Now, it doesn't actually require a first bite, so to speak, but it does require that the owner know or have superior knowledge of a vicious propensity for the animal to attack or bite.
And then there's another way too, right? If, I guess not applicable in this case, but leash law.
Well, right? I was going to get to that.
Oh,
in fact, we got them on, well, no worries. We got them on both. After the attack, we did some digging and submitted some open records requests, got some vet records, as well as the Georgia Animal Services records, and found out that this dog was immediately euthanized after the incident. In fact, the owner of the vehicle apologized to our client, said, "I'm so sorry, I knew this dog was a rather aggressive breed, and I'm so sorry that this happened to you." So we had knowledge in that regard. And then through some witness work, I was able to track down several of the neighbors who, two of them corroborated a story about 6 months prior to this incident where the dog had attacked a paramedic who was coming to the house to check up on somebody, and sure enough, the same dog had bitten somebody before. So we were able to establish knowledge of the dog's vicious propensity, the prior knowledge that's required to defeat the quote first bite rule. To Jeb's point, we also certain counties in Georgia have various ordinances regarding safekeeping for animals and canines in particular. In DeKalb County, where this incident took place, there was a leash law ordinance along with two other ordinances requiring that the owner of a canine take steps necessary to prevent the dog from running at wild. And in this case, it was established that they violated the leash law due to the fact that the dog was clearly not on a leash and outside of its pen, but there were other accounts that the dog had dug underneath the fence in the backyard and had escaped on prior occasions.
So basically, I guess to win a dog bite case, you need to show either the owner knew or should have known the dog was dangerous, or should have had the dog on a leash but didn't.
Either or, yes, and when you've got both, it's usually a slam dunk, as was the case here.
How were you able to establish liability?
Well, in those ways, again, through good witness work and doing our diligence and research into the records about the dog, about the law in the neighborhood, in this case, again, DeKalb County, and through testimony from witnesses that established that there was knowledge on the part of the owner of this dog's vicious propensities.
Why don't you talk a little about witness work? Like, how did you find these folks? Who
Sure.
you talked to?
I love this type of stuff. I mean, I can go down the rabbit hole when you go on various databases and find contact information for the neighbors, and it's usually just a simple phone call. Introduce yourself and explain what you're doing, and ask if they have any knowledge of the animal in particular, or if they'd ever seen the dog, or in this case. But asking them what they know about the neighborhood and other experiences that others have had with this particular animal. And again, I think it was 2 out of 10 responded favorably, and really that was all we needed to establish that knowledge. And then presented with evidence of these witnesses that they knew about this incident, it was pretty obvious that the owners admitted, yeah, we knew about this as well.
So how did you go about, so you called 10 witnesses, 2 of them are friendly. What do you do next with the?
So if they're willing to cooperate, you would want to get an affidavit, basically a sworn statement from the witness saying, my name, I can legally give this statement, and here are my impressions or opinions or actual, in this case, facts of what I know about the circumstances surrounding this incident, this dog, this property, and so forth. So when you can establish that in a sworn statement, that can then be used as formal evidence that could be introduced at trial.
What were your client's injuries?
So fortunately, Mr. Sampson, although he suffered quite an ordeal, his injuries were not terribly substantial. He did sustain open leg wounds in his calf, a pretty serious laceration requiring 9 stitches, but the dog had been vaccinated for the rabies, so that was not a concern, even though he was checked, Mr. Sampson that is, to ensure that he didn't have rabies or anything else. He did suffer a little bit of a setback a couple weeks later. The wound site got infected, but all told, his medical bills were really not that much. In fact, I think they came out to less than $1,000. But the real injuries in a dog bite case are the what we call general damages, the more emotional damages, the mental anguish, the fear, the anxiety, the sleepless nights, the flashbacks, the terror dreams that occur from being attacked by an animal.
What was the outcome of the case?
So the outcome of this case, the homeowners were actually insured against this sort of loss, if you will, and I reached out to the homeowners insurance company. I presented them with the evidence that we had obtained, including Mr. Sampson's medical bills, and explained that, look, here's the law. Your clients clearly were in breach of the law, and in Georgia you can actually impose punitive damages based on case law that's been established showing superior knowledge of a animal's vicious propensity. It's almost a natural punitive element based on the statute for general liability in a dog bite claim. And
to get punitive damages, you have to show someone knew something was dangerous and did it anyway.
And that behavior was wanton or reckless, and
right.
Again, based on the statute regarding knowledge of animals' vicious propensity, you could pretty easily establish that conduct of allowing a dog to run free and attack somebody is wanton behavior that allows for the imposition of punitive damages. So I made that case pretty clear to the insurance company, made a substantial demand. They came back with an offer, and I think it was about 1 or 2 rounds of negotiating. We got a pretty good deal, I'd say that. You want to know how much it was?
Sure, why not?
I was wondering if you were going to tell us.
So we were able to recover $36,000 from Mr. Sampson based on I think a little bit more than $600 in medical bills, and obviously the pain and suffering element there was really what I think drove the value of this case, combined with the fact that they didn't want to go to trial on this one and have us rack up a large award from a jury for punitive damages.
So based on my poor mathematical ability, that's about a recovery of about 65 times the medical bills. Is that good?
Usually, yeah, that's pretty good. We'll take it. Our client was very, very happy. He didn't want to drag this out in court, and he likes dogs, but at the same time, anybody who's ever been bitten by a dog will continue to have a little bit of fear when they next encounter a dog, and so it was a good result all the way around, and pretty speedy result as well.